in the whole deal.
It's not
No,
fun. Yeah.
never.
I think
Nope.
Rachel and I'll be blunt about it. I say in some ways I think I'm an alcoholic, but I mean, we don't drink every day, obviously, but I think through COVID, when that happened, Jimmy's place here, he was one of the only places that was still open, especially in Washington. It was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
wow,
Yeah,
everything was
it's
shut
almost
down.
impossible.
Oh God, we just bounce over to Idaho and go to a restaurant. I'm like, oh, let's drive 10 minutes over to Idaho, and they're all open.
Yeah.
Washington's all shut down, and it was,
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't want to get into the politics of it,
Oh,
but
we could talk a whole nother day about
yeah.
all of that.
But we would come here a lot, and we didn't have anything to do because we had all this residual income coming on. What do you want to do? I don't know. Let's go down to Jimmy's. Let's go down to Brother's office and just have a beer. And then it turned into, okay, let's do this 2-3 days a week. Let's do this 5 days a week. And then it was like, man, we're there all the time.
Yeah.
Just drinking beer. And not to the point where we're, driving home drunk or anything, but we could be there for 6 hours and just hanging out and chatting with people. And I know a lot of people here, a lot of good dudes. And then it just kind of turned into, okay, this is how we de-stress at the end of the day. Let's grab a bottle of Prosecco and have a couple of drinks. And, oh, man, it was a stressful day. Do you want me to get something at the store? Yeah. Get a couple of bottles of Chandon or something.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what it evolved into. And so I was talking with my brother about this the other day, and he's saying, well, Steve, it sounds like you're medicating with it. And I'm like, well, yeah, I know I am. I'm stressed. It's AI. It's, before the presidency thing happened, for the election, that was stressful to see who's going to get elected, what's going to happen, companies, everything changing. And he says, well, yeah, you can't move forward until you stop. I thought, what do you mean move forward? It's like, well, no, you can't hit the next level, whatever that is, until you stop drinking.
Yeah, it's good advice, yeah.
That's good advice, yeah. So for me, I think I'm still on the battling side of loving to have a beer.
I think that I think a lot of people have that affliction to where it's not even, it's a social aspect, but it's also a stress reliever. I think that what changed for me was when I lost my first daughter. I saw my ex delve into alcohol and drugs to be able to cope with that, and more power to her to try to get through whatever she had to get through emotionally to be able to do that. I saw it go in such a downward spiral that I was like, man, I know myself, and if I start to enjoy it, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
I would get to a point where I couldn't drink anymore, and I would try to follow her and try to drink enough to be able to do that. But after you see someone that you love as much as you love your children die in your arms, the fear of other things, the stress, the anxiety, there's nothing else that can compare to that, and so everything else is dull compared to that. I haven't had a stressful, horrible day in my life in 19 years that even comes close to comparing to that.
Yeah.
Except for when my son Griff, I know you saw the pictures of Griffin going to the hospital. That was as close as it got because it was really close to him passing away. And he made it through, and the people at Sacred Heart did a phenomenal job in Providence. He got transferred over. He did an incredible job of keeping him alive, and he's flourishing now. And he's disabled, but he's amazing at everything he does. But here's the thing. Do I worry about things? Absolutely. But do I worry to a degree where I'd need to have anything other than my own thoughts to comfort my back? And so I try to make my own justifications for it. Well, if the president doesn't win, I'm still going to be the same guy.
Yeah.
If things don't go my way in business, activity cures all. All I have to do is go out there and get as busy as I possibly can, call every single person I've ever talked to before, and something good will happen.
Yeah.
And we talked about this too a lot back then, that creating your own situation or creating your own miracle or looking for your blessing inside of all of your challenges has been a big part of my life. When something goes wrong at home, when something goes wrong in my life daily, and we're going through stuff just like everybody else, I always wonder what that next blessing is going to be. And that's what I'm on the lookout for. I'm not looking for the anxiety. I'm looking around beyond the anxiety. I'm looking past the stress of the moment to find out what the next blessing is going to be. And every single time, my whole life, because that's where my mentality lies, it's always come.
Yeah.
There has never been a time where I'm like, man, it's been 3 years, that blessing just hasn't hit. No, because your mind gravitates towards your most dominant thought. And my most dominant thought in the midst of stress, in the midst of sadness, is to find my next blessing.
Yeah.
And that's what's changed it for me. And so for a while, I smoked for a while after my first daughter died, clear through up until about 6 years ago. I smoked pretty consistently. Anytime things got stressful, I'd go to the point, driving to the store, because I didn't want to smoke. I didn't want to be a smoker, but I
Right.
went and drove. No issue with anybody that does smoke. Who cares? But for my personal body, it made me feel terrible. But I would drive to the store. I'd buy 1 pack of cigarettes. I'd smoke 1 pack or smoke 1 cigarette and throw away the rest of the pack. And my wife's like, every time we argue, you're wasting $10 for no reason. And it wasn't even about the money. It was the principle of the fact that you're so stressed out, you have to have 1 cigarette at that point.
Right.
And I remember one night I thought, I'm in control of all of this, my entire destiny. I don't subscribe to addictions. I have the luxury of not being clambered down or locked down by addiction. So why am I doing this? And I just told her, I was like, hey, you know what? I just quit. She's like, what do you mean you just quit? She's like, you've been smoking since 2006. I was like, yeah, but I just quit. And I haven't seen a pack or touched a pack from that day forward.
Did you change the or how do I say this? Did you change the mechanism
Where when you did get stressed, you said, okay, well now when I get stressed, I'm going
I have to do
this.
X, Y, Z. So
Yeah.
yes. So instead of going to the gas station, even allowing myself, if I got really to that point where the argument was bad enough, because my wife and I had,
Go get a Red Bull instead.
well, yeah,
Oh.
exactly. So I went and got something else. Usually got something to drink, or I would just drive around the block until that feeling subsided. At the beginning, it was, I'd drive around the block 6, 7 times. And I'd come home. She's like, where'd you go? Did you go get a pack of cigarettes? I'm like, no, I told you I'm not smoking again. And then it became a moniker. I was like, you know what? Now I'm proud of myself.
Right.
When you ask me that question, I can say no. And that pride is what led me to the next part of that, to the next level. And so it became something that coping was the victory, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
It's kind of like when I'm so incredibly attracted to my wife. Obviously, as you can tell, 11 children, and we have a beautiful marriage, a wonderful,
keep your hands off each
wonderful.
other.
Oh
I know,
man,
that's
I
awesome.
love her, and she's, we have an extremely healthy relationship in every facet.
And she's like a super health
Oh,
guru
dude,
too,
yeah.
isn't
She works out. She wakes up every morning, 3:30 in the morning. She works out for 2 to 3 hours. Then she gets home about 7 o'clock.
She's up before
7:30.
Dwayne Johnson's up.
Yeah,
He's
she is.
still
Absolutely.
sleeping.
Yeah.
She's up
And she's
working
already
out.
done 2 hours of cardio and lifting before he gets up. This guy's a punk. No. If I ever see him in person, don't show him
I
any
will not
part of
show
this.
him this.
But she is an amazing, just an amazingly driven human being. And I'm so fortunate not only to have a wife that is so driven, but is also so passionate and loving and caring and willing to work on mistakes and things. And that drove me to be better. And I work out every day because of that. And I go to the gym at 7:30 when she gets home. And that drive also gives me my hour to focus and breathe and sit in the car for 5 minutes before I get out and be thankful and text gratitude and that sort of thing. So not every day, but most days, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, my wife and I will send back a message of gratitude every morning. So she'll wake up, she'll go to the gym, she'll get done with the sauna or whatever she's doing. And then when she gets in the car, she's like, hey, I just want to let you know today I'm thankful for, whatever we've been going through. No matter what the challenge is, no matter how hard the day was the day before, she's always been able to lift me back up. And then vice versa. My first thought in the morning is, how can I take care of my wife emotionally today?
Right.
And that creates such a wonderful cocoon of exploring into gratitude that you can't help but wake up in a good mood and be
Right.
like, man, I'm lucky to have a person that appreciates me as much as she does. And I hope that she feels the same way. She tells me all the time that she does, deep from her heart, but at the same time, you never know.
Two questions, then we'll wrap it. So what's we've hit on like health ethos, no, not ethos, but health, love, money. What's the why? What's the why for waking up in the morning? Not just, I could say, yeah, I love my wife, I love my kids, but what's
the thing?
Do you see where I'm going?
The thing that drives me, and I know it's a cliche answer, but my children and my wife are the nucleus of that. And there's a passion inside of me to be better than my father was. Now, my father was a phenomenal guy. He was a great worker. He was a great man. He was a wonderful husband, and he was an even better father to me. My drive, my why, is to make sure that through my children's eyes, I stack up to who he was. Now, obviously, there's probably some back ends to that and everything that my father did for me. But when he passed away, it created a fervor to be even better as a father. And
what's the saying, not to interrupt your thought, what's the saying though, you never truly become a man until your father passes away?
Oh, yeah, because
I
you're
remember it was
always
Carl
reliant.
Sagan or something, something like that.
That you have some sort of, you're reliant somewhat on who he was to be able to make those decisions, and then all of a sudden you're one generation's length away from finding life out on your own. I think that's from John Mayer, right?
Yeah.
He said, he's like, man, I'm really close to this. And my mom's 80. I'm soon going to be the one person left in my family that is the patriarch and that can make everything happen, and people will start only coming to me for those answers. And I think that's my main why, is because I've got a heart for everyone that I love that goes beyond any kind of human recognition. And not that I'm better than anyone else, but when I wake up in the morning, I have not felt down or depressed. I have felt joyous 97% of the time. There's that 3% where I wake up with arthritis because I am 50, and you're reminded quickly of how I'm not 25 anymore. Or those days where you don't feel well because you're actually physically ill, or you have a virus, where I'm like, man, this is miserable trying to take care of 9 kids, 10 kids, 11 kids. But that first child that you pick up in the morning that's standing there with the glow on their face, like the innocence you've been unable to capture in yourself for 30, 40 years, that innocence keeps me going. And that's my why. It makes me get out the door every single day.
There's no way to really even articulate.
No,
Yeah.
you can't quantify that, and especially with me, because it's so different. Not that normal, a father of 2 or father 5, you can't correlate that. But the sacrifice. Let's say you're a parent of 2 kids.
Right.
You have the ability at that moment to still have somewhat a resemblance of who you used to be, and the freedom that comes with having only 2 kids.
Right.
When you have 11, the freedom is gone. I haven't gone.
That was gone at
It was
5,
6, 7, 8.
6?
You're completely out. You have no choice. And so to be able to be in the midst of organized chaos every day, and I'm in the midst of, I have 5 toddlers, dude. People that are, so a disabled 4-year-old, a 3-year-old that is the loudest kid you've ever heard, a 2-year-old that he's nonverbal so far, is just now learning how to talk, a 1-year-old who's just now learning how to talk, and a 12-week-old who's learning to find her voice. At any one point in time, during every single day, there is a moment where all of them are yelling or crying at the same time, which creates a calmness in me that I have to maintain to be able to function. And the best part is when that's happening, that's almost always when a real estate call comes in.
I bet. That leads to my last question,
Okay.
and I really, really want to know, have you ever been to Disneyland with all these monkeys?
Oh, so so we are a Disney family.
Okay.
Now, I'm not a huge proponent of Disney Corporation, okay?
No, I get
they're
you,
making
I
it
get you.
harder every year to be like, I love these guys.
Yeah.
I've been a Disney kid since I was a little kid, and I have pictures from back when I was 3 and 4 years old. So I've gone to Disneyland almost every year as an adult.
When we say Disneyland, Disney
Disneyland,
World.
Disney World, we've done
Okay.
both. So during COVID, Florida was the only place that was open.
We did it during COVID.
So we went
Screaming deals,
the
too.
August. Oh gosh, it was awesome. We stayed at the Contemporary for the first time in August of that year, and you walk in and there was 4 people in the entire park. We would go and get on Pirates of the Caribbean and go around, my wife and I, 15 times, and we go there to get away from the kids to be a kid every once in a while. So we're going to Florida in April for my birthday.
Okay, we'll be there too.
Oh, will you really?
Yeah.
Awesome, for my birthday. So it's going to be super
Like spring
fun.
break?
Yeah, April 4th. So April 3rd through the 9th.
Shoot, brother, we're going to
yeah.
have to, maybe we'll have to swing into the
Dude,
park one
oh
day.
man, we know
Could
all
be
the
it.
people down there. We can hook you up. It's going to be great. It'll be really fun. That'd be super cool if you guys were there or there.
Yeah, with tickets are booked, man.
So we took 6 kids last year because they're old enough to ride the rides and understand what's going on.
And have the experience they're going to
And have
remember.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so every one of them, can we go back? When can we go back to Disney? So we'll probably go back later on this year, October, November. We usually like to go during Halloween. Halloween's a really good time for us. And my son's birthday and my new daughter is born on Halloween. He's on the 23rd. So we'll have a lot of fun with Halloween and Disney. But yes, I have taken them. It is
survived.
extremely expensive.
Take out a
I think it was about just for the
second
just for
mortgage,
the- yeah, it was
literally,
about $10K for 3 days.
Wow.
To take 6 kids. So once we get to 11,
That's actually probably doing pretty good.
well, my wife is a deal hunter. She knows how to buy the tickets right. She knows how to get discounts on the food right, and we know all of the secrets of the park.
Okay.
Because we've been there often enough over the last 10 years to where
We'll have to do a whole
we
nother
can,
podcast
Yeah,
or
we can do.
something.
Yeah, and we can. If you ever want to sit down and go through just Disney stuff, as weird as I am, we could totally do that.
That's awesome, brother. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Good to
Anytime.
Good to
Man,
catch
it's
up.
great to see. I mean, let's catch up off camera and
Yeah, for
you know,
sure.
get some coffee and have deeper conversations and maybe do this again in a year.
Done. I like it.
God
All
bless
right,
you, man.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
You too.
Appreciate you.